Good morning, I'm the Reverend Steve Page from St. Patrick's Anglican Church, and you're listening to the Daily Devotional Moment sponsored by the Hudson Bay Ministerial. This month I'm drawing our images of Christian faith from happenings in the world of sports. In January, the sports pages are dominated by hockey and football, and for a change of pace, let's talk basketball today, specifically a 1962 game between the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia Warriors, the team we know now as the Golden State Warriors. In fact, they moved from Philadelphia to San Francisco, specifically the Bay Area, not long after this game. Now, this game was in March 1962, and it was not the most meaningful regular season game. The Knicks were well off the pace for the playoffs, and the Warriors had little hope of catching the powerful and eventual champion Boston Celtics. The game counted as a Philadelphia home game, although it was played not in Philadelphia, but in tiny Hershey, Pennsylvania, a town of just a few thousand people located almost 100 miles west of Philly. Now, Hershey is a charming town, famous as the home of Hershey Chocolate Company. I've personally visited Hershey several times, and it smells pleasantly of chocolate almost everywhere. Well, because of the small town size and the distance to Philadelphia, only about 4,000 people took in the game. But boy, what a game they saw. The Warriors' center was 7 foot 1 inch Wilt Chamberlain, and he put on one of the greatest single-game performances in NBA history. Chamberlain scored 23 points in the first quarter, and he added another 18 in the second. And then he got hot. He pumped in another 28 points in the third quarter and topped it all off with 31 more points in the fourth quarter. Wilt Chamberlain wound up with an incredible 100 points all by himself. It's a league record that still stands today in the NBA. Now, how does this compare? Well, Michael Jordan's best game was 69 points. That's what Wilt Chamberlain had after 3 quarters. Kobe Bryant, he has the second best single game total. He once scored 81 points, but that's still 19 fewer than what Wilt Chamberlain did that night in 1962 in Hershey. But here's the real kicker. There were only 4,000 people on hand. None of them had cell phones or camcorders. No TV station covered the game. You couldn't watch it on TV. Good thing some of the newspaper writers were on hand to write about it afterwards because so few people saw it. What a contrast to today. It seems that celebrities, and especially famous athletes, are always in the public eye. And now that we have Facebook and Twitter updates all the time, the world can know what they're up to down to the detail of what they thought of their salad at lunch and things like that. Now, us normal people, we're not watched in nearly the same way, or so you might think. Yet people are watching us, and they will notice when we slip up, or when we do something that contradicts the faith that we profess to live by. All the more reason to be very careful how you live, as Ephesians says. And there's one more person who also sees us when we're sleeping, and knows when we're awake, and knows if we're being bad or good. And no, I don't mean that jolly fellow who reportedly lives a few hundred miles north of us. I mean God. God knows that when we do something self-sacrificial, something brave and courageous and just right, God knows it. And even if no one notices and we get no reward, God knows, and God remembers. And the flip side of that is that when we cut a corner, or cheat, or do something we shouldn't, even if no one notices, and we think we've gotten away with it, again, God sees, God knows, and God remembers. The beautiful Psalm 121 ends with a reminder, and it is meant as a word of encouragement, not a threat, that the Lord will watch over your going out and your coming in, from this time forth and forever. Oh, and by the way, if you know someone who does good and few seem to notice, give them a word of thanks and encouragement today. For St. Patrick's Church, I'm Steve Page.